I'm sharing this story because this will show, rather than the most films that are made of Berlin is all about spies and all that sort of stuff, I would like to show the human side of the people that lived here in the West, looking at the East, monitoring the East. I want to show a different side of Berlin rather than the spy city that its common name is. It was also a home to hundreds, if not thousands, of Western Forces troops. We lived with it. We knew the Eastern Bloc forces were around us, but we would just carry on. They had no influence on us at all. And day-to-day living was, we just carried on. The we I'm referring to is the occupying forces of West Berlin and the West Berliners working together to show the better side of what they would term as capitalism. I arrived in 1986 and I left in 1992. I was witness to the effects of Chernobyl, the fall of the wall, the change of the city after the wall, the relief of the East Berliners when they came across the wall. I saw. This wall was never built for the West. The West had no input into how this wall was built at all. It was all built because the East Germans and the Soviet occupying powers wanted to stop the escape of the talent, the brains escaping to the West. They were being oppressed in the East. They weren't allowed to express their own opinions. They weren't allowed to research or just have free speech. A major part of that was the Stasi. The Stasi was the East German secret police. 1 in 3 were either working for the Stasi or informed to the Stasi. So that meant to say that every family of 4, say, one of those would be informing to the East German police on the rest of the family. There was no free speech at all.
Yes, my name's Frank Morley. I was in the Royal Air Force for 27 years.
My name's Mike Hancock. I spent 34 years in the Royal Air Force as a linguist, 13 of those years in Berlin.
I was a photographer at RAF Gattow.
Trained at North Luffenham as a Russian linguist, and then I further trained as a German linguist, and we worked at a place called Teufelsberg in Berlin, which was basically a listening post. So if you see American videos about the place, you'd think we were all spies, but basically we were monitoring air-to-air and air-to-ground traffic of the Russian Air Force and German Air Force. There was also Polish linguists there, did the Polish Air Force.
When I was in Berlin, I was excited to be in Berlin because it was the best place to be for my trade. It was the best place to be for experience. Other places in the world, it was nothing like Berlin. Some of the best experiences I had in Berlin were when bands came to play and we could see live music. Things like David Bowie, Queen, Pink Floyd, Bryan Adams, The Boss. They were all here, and I had 6.5 years to see bands that I would never see.
Go, pick one. My fondest memory of Berlin. Excuse me. Oh, there are so many. Most of those, other than with the family ones, are being associated with the band and playing and having fans follow us around from club to club. We just loved it. And the band that I formed before I was sent home, or before I left, was a band called KOF, K-O-F-F, which went on after I left. They got an American drummer and they went on to make a record in Berlin, which I co-wrote. Yeah, I still have a copy of it, obviously, because by the time each of the third and fourth bands I played for were big, we were writing our own stuff as well as playing pop stuff. And I have a newspaper cutting somewhere in the attic which says the Orange Box, which was the third band I was in and the biggest, of a German newspaper, was probably the best semi-professional band in Berlin. So that was probably one of the nicest memories, being told that we were one of the best bands in Berlin.
So, you know,